00. Now, I promised you that I had two very special guests in the studio today from San Diego, but you may already be familiar with them if you listen in the afternoons to the local radio station KLTT. They have a show, I believe it's called Disciples Today.
Daily
Disciples Radio. Yes. And they are here in the area to do a conference called A New Beginning. And I would like to welcome to the program Bobbye Brooks and Tonilee Adamson. Welcome to our show. I'm so glad to have you.
Thank you. We're glad to be here.
Now, you have a very special story about how the two of you connected and how you got together to tell women and men too that they can have a new beginning. Can you tell us about that, please?
Yes, I'd love to. We were in a church Bible study for a while, and I started noticing that in the studies, a lot of times the questions were about like fill in the blank or who was Jacob married to. It wasn't necessarily application to help women in their daily lives. So there came a period of time that Bobbye and I were praying together. We were prayer partners, and I asked her, I said, Bobbye, will you consider writing a women's Bible study with me that helped the women learn how to take the Word of God and apply it to their lives? That it's just not fill in the blank or an excuse to come together, but it's actually life-changing. So that's how we started.
I want to back up a little bit, though, Linda, because a lot of people may not know that the way we came together, people today, a lot of women know us as Bible study teachers or on the radio, but how did we really get to this place is somewhat of a miracle. And I think part of our message is to women and men as well to say that God is a God of miracles. And we actually met at this Bible study. It's kind of funny because I had never done a women's Bible study. I was this kind of career woman. I was raised in church, loved going to church, but never wanted to get too involved. You know, women hung out and cried together, and and I had a really bad misperception about a lot of things that went on in church groups. But it's, God has a way of bringing us to places that we don't know we're going to be in. And I ended up in this Bible study my very first day. I'm sitting there. I don't know anyone who's there. I am extremely uncomfortable. I am somewhat judgmental in what is happening around me. And not knowing a soul, I sit there and listen to this teacher who's teaching. And at first I'm kind of like, well, all right, she sounds pretty articulate, and she's intelligent and bright, and I like how she presented the scriptures. And so at the end, I get up now, and I'm kind of come from this very business background, right? So I'm going to walk over, and if I had a business card, I would have given it to her. But instead, I stuck out my hand and I said, hello, my name is Bobbye Brooks, and I want you to know you did a really good job today. Now, no one in a church Bible study probably would think to do that. But as I stuck out my hand, she stuck hers out, and she said, I really appreciate you saying that. My name is Tonilee Adamson. And it was her very first day at this church teaching in this Bible study.
Wow.
And no one came up to her because they did not know her.
Okay.
She was uncomfortable. She didn't know if anybody liked her teaching. And God sent me to say, you did a really good job, you know. And of all the people there, God brought us together as two women, very different backgrounds, for a very special purpose.
Wow.
And God is an amazing God. And you know, for both of us in that one moment, it was a new beginning for what He had planned for us.
That is so exciting.
Neat, yes.
And not only did God bring you together, He gave you a vision to show people how, not just to know about God, but to know God.
Right.
And that's a whole different ballgame.
That's right.
And as you begin to open up the Word and to tell the people in your San Diego community, what happened to that little Bible study?
Well, Bobbye and I became prayer partners the following year, and then after a year of praying together, we started writing studies. And the study was around 50 women, and after we started writing and teaching together, it grew to like 500 women. And we had women from all over that were coming, judges, doctors, attorneys, and we even had a gal who had a daily radio show. And she came up to us actually and she said, would you mind substituting for me at times? And we were like, great, we'd love to do that. Talk about Jesus on the radio, how great. And so we did do that the first time. Little did we know that she was sitting in her car listening to us. Because after that she said, her intent was, if we did okay, she wanted to offer us our own radio show, which is what ended up happening, and that's why we're in the Denver area now on KLTT.
Wonderful. So my question to you, Bobbye, is how did you come from a person in a career who was focused on career to coming back to Jesus? How did that happen?
Well, you know, I thought I had it all planned out. You know, I was educated, I had this incredible drive, as many men and women do today. And there's certainly nothing wrong with that. And God blessed me, and I would ask the Lord for promotions. But my childhood background, I came out of a home where my father was very controlling, verbally abusive, and all I could think was, I've got to get out. I've got to be independent. And I had this drive for independence. I want to make my own money. I want to be in control. I don't want to depend on someone who might hurt me. So I did all those things. I was a very high executive at a young age in healthcare and had all the accolades that go along with that. Life was great. Divorce, death, all these things came into my life, and I would just go, it's okay, we move on. We just get better. All these things just make us better. Well, one day I realized something was going wrong in my life, and I couldn't put my finger on it. I started getting sick. I was tired all the time. I was stressed out all of a sudden. My ambition was changing. My motives were changing. I became emotionally unstable, mentally incompetent. We don't die quickly in places. A lot of times it's a slow death. And so, make a long story short, I ended up having to quit. I couldn't work anymore. I started making deals with God. Well, I'll do this if you'll get me back, and I'll be okay if you'll do this. And he wasn't buying it. He had a different plan for me. After about 1.5 years of me realizing I'm not going to win, you know, God always wins in the end, I fell on my knees one day and I said, Lord, I know you must have more for my life than this, because I'm dying. And if you want me to die, then just take me out now. And I laid on the floor going, okay, just take me home now. You must not want me to be here. And he didn't. And I said, okay, when I get up off my knees, I give you my life. I fully surrender to you. And when I got up, I knew at that point everything was going to change. It didn't matter anymore. And you know, Linda, I left everything on the floor that day, almost like at an altar.
Wow.
And that's how I came back to him. And there is something very powerful in surrendering to the Lord and knowing that we are not in control. He lets us think that for a period of time. But I can only tell you that looking back, and it's been about 8 years now, I wouldn't change a thing. It was a new beginning. And when I need a new beginning every day, some days, he's there for it. Every day is that fresh sense of his presence that makes everything worthwhile, no matter what the circumstances are. And I think today women are dealing with a lot of fear and the uncertainty, and we want them to know that God knows everything, and he is in control, and he is on the throne. But we need to let go of all these things that we so tightly grip in our lives. So
Well, we do have a choice. We can choose what we focus on. We can focus on the trouble.
Right.
We can focus on the storm. Or we can focus on the Lord and say to him, I don't understand all this, but I'm going to walk through this storm with you.